In recent years, I have invited artists from different disciplines to share more time with us, to release from each other less orthodox strategies and find the beauty of learning from one another. These images you are seeing show some of the works we have commissioned over the last 10 years. One artist, Clare Twomey, recently joined me in conversation about her work Is It Madness, Is It Beauty?, commissioned as part of Rota in 2010. I had come across your work as a ceramic maker, and it intrigued me that you were behaving with your material in a completely different way than I expected. And I couldn't resist asking you, so I did. And you came, and I remember you watching rehearsals. And I'm just wondering if that beginning mattered to you in some way.
It was the start. When Charlie said, "Is there a bend? There's a bend in the line. There's a bend in the line." It was kind of like a call that helped me understand the relentlessness of practice in the most positive way, how we endure, how we continue.
There's a bend in the line now. I'm stopping myself from responding. I can feel myself doing it. This is where, this point here, so I start to get critical.
And then that moved for me into my practice. And we know of clay that it takes great skill, but at the same time, it takes much endurance. And I was seeing the endurance in front of me lived out in another way of this, we'll try again, we'll try again. And each time you try again, you carry just the tiniest bit more knowledge with you.
How did that inform the work that you eventually made, Is It Madness, Is It Beauty?, which is one of the most important works I feel I've ever asked to come into being?
The title was so clear to me.
Where did it come from?
Is it beauty?
Because you weren't sure whether we were being mad or whether we were making something of beauty.
Thousands of unfired pots were filled with water continually by the performer of the work. My resolution was the continuum to try, even though if you pour water into an unfired pot, it will break. But that doesn't stop you doing it.
Jill was performing it for 6 hours at a time. So I can't now remember how many pots she filled during those 6 hours and every single one broke. And then she had to mop the floor because, of course, the water fell on the floor. So there were multiple ways in which the never-endingness of a problem couldn't quite be solved, and yet she remained to task.
And the acknowledgement of that, not within the concept, but within the physical being of the work, that was huge for me to understand the physical being. It's not an illustration. It's a lived, embodied thing. So if you don't mop the water, then the wholeness of the work is sliding away from you. So it's that containment.
I think for me there's an element in which we both were very immersed in the minutiae of a process, and the process was telling us something. And if we let the process take time, then the process made both the work that I made and the work that you did as well. I sense, and I'm very moved by the fact that this work seemed to have an impact on your future works.
To have worked with you and understood the humanness of presence, the humanness of the risk, the bigness and the empathy that can sit in that liminal space between the work space and the audience participant space. This space allowed me to understand practice not as two separate things, but the space in between. And the space in between is what I've continually fed from. And I think Is It Madness, Is It Beauty was excruciating in the sense of watching so closely this labour. And I think as the works have gone on, it's helped me to understand that I can do this. Didn't know I could do that. It helps me understand that this is language.